Hello and welcome to the Win9x Live Stream Overlay setup video. This is for those who need some help setting up the overlay if they're new to setting it up, or if you're stuck on a part, can't figure something out. Bear with me, I'm doing this in Streamlabs OBS, which is not my traditional live stream program, but I do know my way around OBS, so I'm going to try and transfer it over to Streamlabs here for you all. But let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you want to make a new scene. We're gonna make this just the main stream setup page, I guess. So this is just gonna be called gaming, I guess. I don't know, you can name it whatever you want. That depends on how you're gonna have it set up. And first thing you're gonna want to do is add a new source. Once you've downloaded the zip file, you should have all these files extracted and ready to go. These are all the files we're gonna be using. Use your starting, ending screens, offline screens. Here are your webcam borders. You can choose what size, or you can use the green screen ones. These are your windows to put your games applications in, with the Twitch chat window as well. Twitch chat, YouTube, whatever you use. The taskbar for the bottom of the overlay with some buttons, some unpressed ones that you can put your own pages on. And there's a list of the fonts, and this is the sizing and the color hex code that we'll be using for each one when you set it up. The stinger animation transition, and there's a couple more things we'll be setting up as well. So back in Streamlabs, to set it up, we're just gonna set up the main scene as I traditionally have it, with a single webcam and the taskbar and the full screen border there. So first things first, just gonna add a new image. We're gonna name this taskbar, add source, browse. When the window pops up, you're gonna wanna go into the files, grab the taskbar picked image, press open, and you're just gonna hit done, and it's gonna show up here. You're just gonna wanna put that right down at the bottom, snaps in place, perfect. So it doesn't move, go in, lock it down. Next, we're gonna fill up the bottom of the taskbar with our buttons. So the exact same, So once that's there, you're gonna wanna lock it. So once it's there, you're gonna wanna lock it so that it doesn't move while you're moving other things around. Makes it easier. And then we're gonna fill up the taskbar with the other buttons. So just like before, we're gonna add a new source, image, add source, add a new source instead. This is gonna be webcam button. You go in and find the webcam button, just like that. Hit done. It's gonna spawn up here. You're just gonna want to drag that down to the bottom, and it's a little bit tough to line up, especially when it's snapping in place. Using your arrow keys, you can move it around. There, looks good. We're gonna leave it there. We can move things over after, but just make sure it's on top of the taskbar in the sources list. And just like before, lock it down. And again, to add another image, new source. This is going to be called game button. It doesn't have to be game, it can be anything, depends on what you're doing. Find the blank pressed button. Just gonna hit open, hit done. Just like before, gonna drag it. That's a little bit far. I find that you want a little bit of a gap next to the start button, and then a smaller gap between each window after that. But yep, that's that. We're gonna add one more button. Same thing, add source, new source. Twitch, we're gonna name this one Twitch chat. All right, and then we're gonna grab the Twitch chat button. Just like before, just gonna drag it. These don't have to go in these positions. This is all preference. What order you want it in. Okay, now that those are lined up, we can go and add our social media icons. They are optional, you don't need to have them, but I find it looks good. Just like when you have things on the bottom of your taskbar, applications show up there for your tray. It just looks good. So we're going to add another source, image, add source, new source instead. I'm just gonna add a couple, but Instagram icon. browse. You're gonna go into your icons folder here, Instagram icon. It should be the right size. Getting a handle on it is gonna be tricky because of how small it is, but it's doable. Okay, I'm gonna add one more just so I can show you it again. New source, image. This is gonna be YouTube icon. Add it. Grab towards the middle, it's a little bit easier. All right, so now that we're done with our taskbar here, just gonna grab all of these and group them. Just cleans up this list a little bit better. Lock that. I will be adding the text on here afterwards, but for now we're just gonna get the images in. So just like before, add a source, new source, Twitch chat window. Gonna go back into our files, Windows, Twitch chat window, open. Again, you should not have to resize any of these. They should all just be the right size, but you can resize them if you want. If you stretch it, it might get kind of rough, but you can shrink it if you need to. So we're just gonna leave that up there for now. Lock that. And we're gonna add our window border for full screen for when you're playing games. Add source. Taskbar full screen window. When I say taskbar, you can even put like a bracket around it to differentiate it. I say taskbar because there's two different full screens. There's a full screen, so it does it underneath the taskbar, and then with the taskbar, it stops at the taskbar. So it goes in this empty space, black space there. Go in to our windows, so just like this. So this one and this one's a little bit bigger. This one's a little bit smaller, and it comes in gray and blue. This one was just aligned differently. But we're gonna go with blue because it is the one that is in focus, so it's the one that you're playing. That's how it was back then. It would be blue if it was the active window. Just gonna go like that, and it should just line up perfectly because it's the right size. You want this below the chat window though, but above the taskbar. And then, because now we see that it's overlaying the Twitch chat there, just gonna unlock the Twitch chat, move this so that it's about just in the corner, a little bit of a black outline, so it's not everything's not butted up against each other, and it looks nicer. Lock that, and we pretty much have the overlay here. So next we're going to add our webcam border. It's the last main graphic element. So as always, gonna go in, add a new source, webcam border, add source. Go in and you'll be able to pick what webcam border you want. I use this 9x16, which is just a 16:9 rotated look for my webcam because I have my webcam vertical, and I'll show you that in a second here. You can go with that, a traditional 16:9 wide, or a 4:3, which is a little bit shorter if you want more screen, less webcam showing kind of thing. And those sizes reflect in the green screen borders, so you would just load up this and then put your green screen webcam on top. Simple as that. But for me, because my webcam is already set up for a vertical format, I'm going to be using this webcam border. Load it up. We're just gonna position it about there. Looks good. Yeah, let's go with that. Lock that in place. And then you're gonna add your video source. You're gonna go and add a video capture device, add source. I'm gonna load my Brio, gonna add new source instead. Brio, add source. Select my Brio. And it should have loaded. Change the size to 1920 by 1080. There we go. It's the easiest format, and it reads at, I can do 60 frames per second output on that, which I'm gonna do because I like the smoothness of it. And everything else should be fine for now. As you can see, it's sideways. My webcam is rotated 90 degrees so that I can get the full vertical length instead of a really wide look. I personally like that. You can see down here, it looks a little bit nicer. When I play games, you can see what's going on here. And to set this up, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is right click, transform, rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, so to the left. There you go. Set it up in the corner, no, it's too big. Gonna have to shrink it first. Just shrink it by dragging the corner. By the corner. Set it up in the corner there. To be able to see the edge of the border, you're gonna wanna put it below the border there. That looks pretty close. I'm gonna move it. Actually, no, I'm gonna leave it. Looks close enough for now. Then I'm just gonna grab this corner and shrink it. It should line up perfectly with a 1920 by, or like 9 by 16, 16 by 9. That black line is supposed to be there. That's the shadow underneath the window. All the windows have that. And on the left is a little, looks like a little black line. That should be there too. And that's pretty much lined up. Lock that, lock all that, and more or less that's all the elements. So the next thing we're gonna add is the text for the top of the game window or app window and the text for the taskbar. It's pretty simple. You're gonna wanna go in and add a text right here, add source. This is gonna be, we're gonna do the game window text, add source. For the font, you're gonna want Pixel Sans Serif condensed. If you don't have it downloaded in the files, that'll be the fonts used, and there's a link to it. If you don't have it downloaded, you're just gonna copy this link here, go into your browser, paste it, hit enter. You'll see a download button. It will download, extract it like you did the overlay files, and then right click on it or open the font and hit install, and it will install it for you. And that's all you have to do. So back in here, you'll make it Pixel Sans Serif condensed. It's gonna be 18 to 24 in Streamlabs OBS. OBS could be a little bit different sizing. You're just gonna have to play around with it to make it look good. Now, instead of setting what the text is by yourself for the game in here, you're gonna wanna hit this read from file. What this is gonna do is it's gonna read what the text is in a text document somewhere on your computer. So to have that work, you're just gonna wanna go and make a new text document on your desktop. Right click, new text document. Game, stream, game, text. Delete that. Gonna open that. And we're gonna write what our game we're playing is. Let's start with Valorant. And for fun.exe, it's an executable app file. It's just a fun way to add some more character to the overlay. And you're just gonna wanna go File, Save. It will save that file right there. It can be anywhere, just easy to get to and access, so you can do it midstream. You can have it open if you're using a Stream Deck or something. You just need to make a button that opens the file when you click on it. So that's all we're gonna do for that. Back in Streamlabs here, settings. You're gonna wanna read from a file. You want to find that file. It was called stream category text, I believe, was that? Stream, I have two here, it doesn't matter. Just whatever one you made. It will just read the text that is in the file. And you'll see it show up here. Just center it, I think it's set to 24, something like that. Can we move up and down? Is that too far? You want it centered there, a little bit of a gap on the left side. So now we're just gonna add one more text file for the taskbar here. It's the same process, exact same, just different color, different size. The one thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to add an existing, which is already there. If you try to change the color or the size, they would both update. So you have to make two different sources. So taskbar game text, add source. Same thing, Pixel Sans Serif. 18, I think, was right for this. Read from file, same thing. Stream category text. Enable anti-aliasing. The color you're gonna wanna go with is black for this because it's on your taskbar. Should be already up there. Drag it down. Looks to be about the right size. You're gonna wanna leave a little bit. I like to leave a little bit of a space in case I wanna put an icon there, depending on what I'm doing. You don't need to. Sometimes if you have a longer game name, moving it over is really the only option you have. So let's put it there, for instance. And that's pretty much it for setting those. Let's go and change the game. Let's say you're in your stream or whatever, and you want to change this and you're gonna be sitting in just chatting now. So you change this to just chatting, file, save, and these should update. Just chatting, just chatting. Easy. You can have this pop up with a Stream Deck or something. You just need to make a button to open the file, and it will just open this file. It'll just open this file for you. So I'm just gonna press mine, and you'll see mine pops up just like that. Change this, Control S to save it, and I'm done. It takes all of 3 seconds. But that's that. And now the last text file you're gonna wanna do is this top one up here. This is for your stream username, stream name, whatever. Add a new text file. This is streamer name, add source. Gonna wanna go pixel sans serif condense for this. Probably about the same size as that, so that was 24. You don't need to read from file, just your username. Just like that. Is that spelled right? Yes, it is. Anti-aliasing. And you're gonna want this in, so webcam border title, it's on the gray background, so you're gonna want it in pixel sans serif around that size. It's gonna be different for you, but that's the one that it's exported out. That's the one that it was exported at. This is the color you want. So I'm gonna go in here, hex code, paste it in there. It'll be a little bit of a gray. And then grab that, drag it down there. That's perfect. Ta-da! Looks pretty sweet. That's your gaming overlay. The only thing that's missing are your alerts and your chat and this clock down here. If you want the clock, this is just an extra space, but that's pretty much it. So to set up another scene, like an intermission screen or something, it's literally the exact same way. Just you rearrange the windows where they go. I'm not gonna go and make a whole new scene with all the buttons because that could take some time, but I'm going to just set it up on the same gaming scene. Otherwise you would just go, add new scene, intermission, and then you would just go and add everything back in the same way you did. But now everything's kind of there, so you can just go in, image, add source, and then just add these existing sources. It should all pretty much be, you just gotta move them into place. But I'm just gonna set it up here on my gaming screen just so that you can see it quickly. So let's just hide the things that won't be on this scene. So the full screen taskbar will be gone. The Twitch chat window will move, so we can leave that there. The webcam border, with your webcam, I like to put these in a group, including these three. So the webcam, the border, and the name, just put those into a new group. Webcam, it'll just move into a group here, and you can just move that. For this, I like to set it here. Again, you can set this all up wherever you want. It's not a big deal. This is just where I like to put it. You can put yours anywhere. Lock that in place. And we're just gonna add you can leave this up here. So just like before, add a new source, an image. New source is gonna be called MS Paint window. And then Windows, MS Paint window, hit open. Should line up right to the top there. That's where I usually leave it. You can see it's overlaying your webcam here in the text, so you just want to bring this down to where the full screen window icon was as well, and it should just line it up like that. The only difference is, yes, this is a little bit. You can see this is overlaying that little icon there, so you can just lock that in place so that you don't grab anything. Find your game window text, or you can add when you add your game window text and just move it over a little bit. That's a little bit far. Move it over to the left a little bit. There. One more up. There. Just like that. And then you would add and that's pretty much it for that. Again, it just updates like that. Everything's kind of aligned. You pretty much duplicate the same as your gaming scene, and then that way when you switch between each, it'll align itself. The one thing I didn't explain is setting up your game capture, as I assume everybody knows how to do that. But if you don't, go in game capture or display capture. I prefer display capture because I have a really wide monitor. It lets me adjust it. If I do a game capture, it could take the whole thing, and it could be buggy. I just do display capture. Screen capture, or I already have it, so I'm gonna add it in. Doesn't snap, but that's what it would be. It would just capture whatever's on screen, and it would be centered. You want this at the very, very bottom, like the absolute bottom. It went into this folder, which it's not supposed to. I'm gonna move this back down here. I guess I got stuck in the folder, but you just want it down underneath all the graphics. It looks really messy, but that's full screen up there. Let's say you wanted it just, let's say you wanted it just within this window here, like you would on an intermission screen. You would just grab it and resize it so it fits within the border of that window there. Make sure it's centered. It should be pretty much good. But you can see how much wider my screen is. But that's how it's set up there. Hold Alt if you want to shrink your windows without resizing them, so it crops the sides. So like it's cropping it. A lot of people don't know that, and it's not straightforward, but if you hold Alt on your keyboard, it will crop it for you. And as you see, there's a black background here, which isn't good. Let's just add so you can add here, just add a color source. If it's an OBS, you just add a shape, and then you just want to scale it. Background, just adds a shape. This goes underneath everything, very bottom. Properties, color, pick a screen color. I will add this is the color that you want for your screen color. So I'm just gonna add the color in here. So this is your background color. You can obviously make this whatever you want, but this is the traditional like Windows 95 color. Hex code 008080, which is this. You just add it into the hex there. The width, you just stretch. It's just one color, so you're not gonna get pixels. It's just one big block. Done, and there you go. So that would be the same in either scene. So you have your video source, which is right now my screen cap. You can have it set to game cap. You have your webcam and your background. Next thing I'm going to show you is the 3 other scenes that are just your starting soon, your be right back, and your stream ending scenes. They're not really scenes, more or less, unless you have them set up that way, but they're mostly just images. So we're just going to add them in to this gaming scene, because you can just toggle it on and off, or if you want to set up a whole scene for it, you can set up a whole scene for it, but it's just like an image that sits over top. Add a new source, starting soon screen, add source, browse, find your starting soon screen, open, and done. And there it is. What you can do is you can add your own username in there using the same thing you did before. So if you want to add your username in, you would just go in, add a new text file, add source. You don't want to use this streamer name for this because it's the wrong color, and again, if you change one of them, it'll change both of them. So add a new source. Oops. So you're going to want to go and add a new source instead. Starting soon username, add source. This we're going to be using the Microsoft Sans Serif. Put your name in. I think that might be a little too blocky. We're going to leave anti-aliasing on. And you're going to want it in black. I guess you can scroll down here, select black. It's a little bit big. We're going to go with 24. That should be good. That might be a little bit big. Yeah, it's a little bit big. $18 it is. So yeah, it looks like 18 is pretty good. So just make sure you don't grab the bottom layer. You want to lock your layers that are already in place. Just like that. Locking everything is pretty helpful. Let's go Set it in there. So there you have it, your starting soon screen. So we're just gonna hide that and move on to our stream ending screen. It's the exact same setup as the starting one, but it's just an image. Stream ending, whoops. Screen, add source, browse, ending screen. You don't even have to add any text or anything to this. But what this does, you'll see, is it has it's this image here with a full screen, half transparent black background. So this is your stream ending screen. It shows you some options here. You can't click on anything. Of course, it's an overlay, but these are it's just funny ways of showing some things you can do at the end of your stream. But yeah, that's more or less it for your stream ending screen. You can just have that as an overlay on top of your other scenes. You don't have to make a new scene for that specifically, because then you'd have to re-add everything as it is. And when you switch scenes, it would just add it on top. So you just add it as an image here. But that's more or less it for that. So we're just gonna hide that, and we're gonna move on to the Be Right Back screen. You can set this up as a scene, or you can just have it set so that when you press your scene transition button, it turns on some LED graphics and turns off other ones. I'm just gonna make a new scene for it. BRB, BRB, that works. You wanna add in your image of you're gonna wanna do your taskbar. It's not gonna snap, but I'm gonna do this quick for you. And all your other stuff as well. You wanna add in the image of the full screen window in blue, because it's in focus. Should line up. You can decide if you want your Twitch chat on your Be Right Back screen. I think it looks cool. For when people are chatting, you can still see what they're chatting about. So add source, Twitch chat window, add source. Again, you can add this anywhere. I just move it up here. I'll lock these so I don't actually do anything, and that's more or less it. You just want to have your buttons. Obviously this isn't lined up nicely, but that's just for time. You just want to add your buttons again, same thing you have on your main gaming or intermission screens. And the last thing you're going to want to add is a media source. That means you can have videos, which this is. This is Be Right Back and video. Add this source, browse, and inside your files, overlay files, you should see Be Right Back screensaver. You want to hit loop. I would hit restart playback just so you can see that startup animation of where it does that, which looks cool. If you have a strong enough GPU, you can use hardware decoding if you want. You can have the file closed when inactive so it saves resources. Move it to the very bottom. And that's more or less your Be Right Back screen. But yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know to be able to set up this overlay. If you wanted to add something else, like the stinger transition, you can buy that from the Francois Studio website. To add that, all you need to do is go into your scene transitions settings, add a transition, stinger, select stinger from here, which will give you the video file options. Go in, find your stinger transition, hit open, transition point would be in milliseconds. I believe the transition is 2 seconds, so I'd say like 1,000 milliseconds. Then set it to that, hit done. As you can tell, it was a little bit too short. So you're gonna go back in. Make it a little bit longer. Let's do 2,000 seconds. We can delete this so you don't get distracted by it. Hit done. Yep, 2 seconds is enough. So now every time you change scenes, transition works. Again, thefrancoisstudio.com where you bought this overlay, it should be there as well. I think it looks really cool, it's really cheap. Pick it up, help me out. I'm not going to set up the widgets in this video. I'll do that in a separate video. You can find it on the project page or my YouTube. But that's it for the setup video. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for supporting. If you have any questions or anything, hit me up in the comments, or you can jump into my Discord where I'm down to chat about it all. But yeah, take care. And as always, do different.